Let's begin on how to develop an Android app for blockchain. The first question is why it's important to develop an Android apps for blockchain. In this case, you can see on the left there is the email that Huawei sent me a couple of weeks ago that they removed a bunch of my personal app that I've developed some years ago, or some games, without reason. So the email, as you can see, is simple. Your app has been removed. Finish, stop. And I am a little Android developer, but also big company like Fortnite and Epic Studio, they were kicked off from the Apple Store because they used a payment system that infringed the Apple policy. So this is the problem, one of the problem we developer find about the centralization of the stores. But there are also other points that are important for developing an Android application that works on blockchain. For example, we are multi-platform support for every device because this kind of application can run on smartphone, on PC, on desktop, console games, whatever you want. There are no hardware limitation. We also have the advantages to get a bigger audience because in the crypto and blockchain space, there are millions of people that are already using this technology from different sectors, from decentralized finance to NFTs and so on. In more, there are already some tools, some libraries that are being developed to integrate the blockchain aspect on the traditional software. For example, there are tools and library for Android, for desktop application, and so on. And in this case, another advantages we can find developing an Android application that uses blockchain. It is an easy interface, and we can just set up with a browser, because if we have an internet connection and a browser on our device, we can already using the application from whenever we want. At this point, you can ask how you should program an Android application that use blockchain, because okay, I want to start an application or integrate the blockchain aspect in my apps, but from what I have to start the project. In this case, we have to begin with an idea, because if we don't have an already application to develop, then we have to think the application from the scratch and already set what the application should do. In this case, we take the game aspect. So in the game, we have some function that we have already know what to develop. For instance, we have to set the character and eventually an in-game marketplace and so on. Then when we set up all the idea for our application, then we have to develop also the smart contract that will leverage all the function about the application. And always for the games development, a smart contract application could be that read the NFTs from one account, that if you have some specific NFTs, you can play the game or load your character or information, because if we have something different like a license, we have to figure out to get the license from the account on the blockchain. All this information are on the blockchain, and then you can the application can run on the blockchain. And when we developed the smart contract, then we started to set all the things inside the Android environment, because if we don't have first all the stuff on the blockchain, we cannot implement these things. Of course, we can do both separately, but this is the great order to make the steps to develop an Android application. In my case, and we will see after, I already built a Android game, and then I set up the blockchain environment. We talked about the smart contract, and you can ask, what are smart contract? Smart contract, put it in a simple way, is a bunch of instructions that are saved on the blockchain in the account, on the blockchain account, where there are some information and some instruction that when they called by the user or the application can put then the information inside the smart contract. For example, an extraction can be queried by the smart contract, can be the balance of the account. If I put the address of one user, I can know the balance of that account. Or in the case of NFTs, we can inquire the smart contract if that account has our NFTs to play the game or to use our application. For example, if the user has the license on his account. So this is basically a smart contract function, but it can be whatever we want, because we will see that there are some blockchain that are more powerful than others. And okay, I got it. What is a smart contract? Then where I can deploy the smart contract, on which blockchain? We have to know that not all the blockchain are similar, because there are some characteristics and specs that not always has what we need. For example, in this sample, we have, for example, Bitcoin isn't Turing complete, so we have limited operation. Isn't eco-friendly, because we take into account how much our application and smart contract hit the environment. We have a cheap transaction in Bitcoin, yes. If we move a lot of information, we can spend for the fees very little fees. And the other parameter that I choose is the easy development, because not all blockchain are easy to be developed on. And in case of Bitcoin, it's not very easy, because we have to check different things to make it all the information. Because yes, on the Bitcoin you can develop some kind of smart contract. Then another famous blockchain that maybe you all know is the Ethereum blockchain. In this case, we have a Turing complete blockchain, so we can make whatever function instruction on the smart contract, but isn't eco-friendly, because we know it use the proof of work consensus that consume a lot of energy, and this impact on the environment. Their transaction is not cheap, because depends on the smart contract and the complexity, the difficulty of the smart contract. They can rise fee above $100. So imagine that every user need to spend $100 for making a transaction. It's not economically, both for developer and for the user. And that, because it's an old blockchain, we have a lot of development tools that it make easy for us to development. Another blockchain that it's not perfect, it's the Cardano blockchain. Another blockchain that is Turing complete, isn't at the moment eco-friendly. There are cheap transactions, but in this case, it's very hard to develop on this blockchain because they use a particular languages of developing that not all the programmer can use. So it's very difficult. You have to learn all the code, all the instruction to develop on this blockchain. Instead, one of the interesting blockchain there are on the space, and we will see on this particular case, is the EOS blockchain. In this case, we have the advantages of being a Turing complete blockchain. So every extraction we can set up on the smart contract. In this case, we have an eco-friendly blockchain because you have to know that EOS is the first blockchain in the world being carbon neutral. So every resource they consume the blockchain to go up came from eco-friendly engine. And also the advantages of EOS blockchain is that the transactions are extremely cheap. In this case, there are several wallets that provide free transaction for every user. So you don't have on the user side an expenditure of a fee to use your application. And also in this case, we have several tools that already been developed on the EOS blockchain, so you can already implement on your application. So to summarize all, we have the essential element of any dApp, a decentralized application. So we have the blockchain. So the blockchain we have to develop and deploy the smart contract, in this case the EOS blockchain. Then we have the smart contract, the code inside that leverage all the extraction to use our application. So if they are game, there are some instruction. If there is another application, read other instruction. And there is also the wallet, because the wallet is the tool that stores the private key of the account, of the address. So with this wallet, we have to log in and interact with the Android, with the application. If in this case, the Android application, we have to set up the wallet, and some tools already integrate the wallet. As we said before, there are advantages in using a blockchain, because some of these blockchain use simple and already developed languages. For example, the EOS blockchain we can develop with C++, with Java, WebAssembly, and or for example on the Ethereum blockchain we have Solidity. So these are the different and most important languages to develop the smart contract and information for our decentralized application, because we don't have to forget that most of the developer use already languages to develop their Android application, Java or C++, and using a blockchain that is compatible with already these languages, for the developer it's more easy to develop and fast to deploy the smart contract on the blockchain, instead of developing and understanding a new blockchain languages. As we said on the Cardano, we have to understand the Haskell languages. That is not easy and simple to understand. So this is a standard integration for the application. There is what I call a wallet box, because There are several wallets that we can use to access on the application, both of Android or desktop application. In this case, we have to set up different wallet, so we can let the users use what the wallet prefer. In this case, we talking about the EOS blockchain. We have Anchor wallet, Scatter, or Wombat wallet, but there are a lot of different wallet. So we have to take into account the wallet that we want to use and to let user use for what they have. For example, on EOS, the principal wallet on the EOS blockchain is Anchor, but you can also integrate the Wombat wallet. For instance, on the Ethereum blockchain, for example, you can implement MetaMask. MetaMask is all available also on EOS blockchain, so you can let user expand what they can use. So if a user has the Anchor wallet or MetaMask wallet, you can implement and integrate different wallet, all together on the first release, or secondly, after that you can implement one each time. So when we integrate all these aspects on the Android application, this application become a decentralized application, because with what we call in this field Web 3.0, we use a decentralized login method to access on the application. So in this case, the wallet is the core to access an application, because without that decentralized access, I don't have another way to enter in the application. And this is a great advantage, because if in a traditional way, we have the system that is 2.0. 2.0 is not otherwise the Google or Facebook authentication, or the simple username and password. Those methods can rely on traditional way and on a centralized platform, and the more isn't safe enough to use that login method, because I can steal the password from user and enter on the application. In this case, the security is much higher, because only the person that has his account and his private key stored on the wallet can access on the application, and then can use it. Because if we set when I set the smart contract to use the application only with something that you have, as example NFTs of the character of NFTs as a license, only if you have the account and the license by these NFTs, you can use my application. And this means that also on the hacking field, we have a level or security, because if you don't have some digital asset on the blockchain, that, as we know, it can be counterfeit or duplicated in any way, we have the assurance that that user cannot force or trick the application to enter criminal to using that app. And this is very interesting for all those apps that require a lot of expensive to use the app. We can talk about, for example, Photoshop or CAD application that they cost a lot to use that app, but unfortunately there are also a lot of methods to bypass the checking of the user and the license in any way. And in this case, with the combination of the blockchain and the smart contract. In this case, the license is like NFTs. We have combined the two solid aspects of the blockchain with a traditional asset that there is our blockchain. So this is the what is called the app, a decentralized application. As we said before, there are different system and tools that we can already integrate in our application, because if, like me, I have already several Android application, I have just to integrate what we need about the blockchain. So I have the app, now I have to understand what tools or what I can use to integrate the blockchain. In this case, we see there are several tools. In this particular case, I choose one plugin, the nice one plugin, that is a simple plugin. This plugin operates in the game field, but it can be extended also on the license field, that leverage the EOS blockchain to use NFTs for login on the Android application or as a license, because with this simple plugin I have to integrate on the Android application on the code, because it's simple a code, fill all the information about the NFTs. We will see what information we have to fill it in, and then automatically our application become an dApp, so a decentralized application maintaining all the centralized information about our Android application, because we don't recode all the extraction we made until that point, because we have to add some code to our previous code. So this is a good tools, because it's retrocompatible with all our previous application. And this is a great tools, because I don't have to recode or recreate from scratch my application just to integrate the blockchain. And these kind of tools are limited only for those blockchain that are Turing complete and already develop some things, like in the EOS blockchain field, that this plugin is already on the field, and we can already test it to put in our application. So with this plugin, can transform any game, it's a Game Boy game, PlayStation game, Xbox game, Android game, console game, PC game, whenever you game want to using. With this plugin that it costs at least 15 minutes to set up, you can transform any game on a blockchain game on the EOS blockchain, because this plugin already has a general smart contract that set up we have to set up with all the information about the NFTs. So we are using the blockchain like a tools to check on the user's account if they have some information, in this case some asset that are NFTs. NFTs, it can be like as I said before, propagated to the game, in this case asset like character, object, and so on, or NFTs like license. So I have the license of the assets to the application, so I have a license 1, license 2, license 4, and so on. Every license is different, and it can be used by only an account. That are advantages of this kind of system, that I, as a user, don't buy the application per se, but I buy the license or the asset to play or using your application. And this can bring me the user, the final user, an advantage is incredible, because if I finish playing the game or using your application, I simply can sold that license or NFTs on the public market, because we have only all in the blockchain, and I can sold freely without any centralized authority that block me as a user or as a developer, to let user share their license or NFTs and sold. So me, because I have the advantages, also for the developer, because I can share more the information about my game. I haven't the restriction about a store platform, a centralized store platform that can obliged me to don't do something in specific, don't ask money or whatever you want. And in this case, another advantages of the application that is using blockchain, so it cannot be also stopped. So if eventually in the future the team or the company goes down on business, the application will continue to run, because we know that especially for games, the online games that use centralized server to play gaming and matchmaking on the several years will be shut down. Instead, on a game based on the blockchain, it cannot be shut down by no one. So the game can be played forever, because the blockchain, it can be live forever as much as at least one node of the blockchain survive. Turning back on the nice one plugin, how does in concrete it works? So we have simple 8 steps to using this plugin. The first is get the plugin. You have to download from the nice one website. Then you have to import the plugin. In this case, we made the example of the games. So import the plugin on your game. The plugin works at the moment on the Unity environment. So if you build the game with Unity, we can already use this plugin. Then when you import all the information of the plugin, that there is all the code, you have just to set a login button. So you have traditional on the game, play button, option button, credits, and so on. You have to add another button that is login button. Set the script button. So when basically is when the login button is clicked, the plugin load the instruction. So it's a easy process. When we set the first technical information on our application, then we have to create the NFTs for the license. For example, I developed the game and I released 1 million license on the market, that if you want to play my game, you have to buy on the centralized market at this price. So when you get the NFTs, you can enter the game. When you create the NFTs, so the license game X, license Y, then you have to set set this information on the info on your application. So if you create an NFTs X with the information Y, you have to add this information also on the script for the application to run with that information. So when the user, the smart contract, read those information, and those information are linked to the NFTs, the user can enter and play the game. When the process is done, you of course test the application, and when all is green, you can release the game whenever on whatever platform you want. So on your website, on centralized platform like Google Store, App Store, or what you want, because those information rely only on the blockchain. So the publishing the app in this case is not linked to the power of the platform that is an intermediate of payment, because the platform sold the application for you. But in this case, the application you put on the platform for free, and then the user, if you want to play or use your application, they have to bought the NFTs from a public marketplace. It's an NFTs marketplace, and everyone can enter and buy the specific NFTs. Technically, what we have to do with these steps? Allora, for the first step, we have to click on Asset, set import package, and custom packages. So this is the steps to import the plugin. Then in the center we have the information about the login button. As you can see, we have the function on click. So on click is the function that when the object is clicked, then do this instruction. And this instruction, we have to set the code of the plugin where load the login panel. So when the user press the login button, it show the login menu. So in this case, we have only just to pick the right code. Then on the left, we have the main menu manager script. This, as I said before, we have to insert the information about the NFTs we have created. In this case, we have the author, that is the developer. In this case, we can see mastering EOS. The iData name, that is the name of our license. In this case is license. And category, what category this comply. For example, if we hasn't a category, because there are all equal the NFTs, we can put the company name, in this case Hoken Tech. Or if we have a game, we can set category armature, category weapon, category, and so on. So we can choose what category we have made on the NFT side, because this information are already on the blockchain, because we created previously the NFTs with this information. So a basic information. There is an image of the NFTs and this information, author, iData, and category. Not so complicated to develop. Then when we have finished, as we see on the right, there is the big login button, because we added on the Android application. And then when the login is pressed, we can the wallet interface will called. In this case, we can see that is the Anchor wallet. So I have to or click the launch the wallet, or scan the QR code, so you can log in with your phone. So you can play a game also on your desktop and log in from your phone, because if you want to play the game with a joypad, it's better to play or also on a big screen. You have this kind of advantages instead of using an Android game on a little device like a smartphone. And for example, in this case, if the user press the login button, login with the wallet, don't have the license, the smart contract pop up the message no license, because you don't have the license to play that game. Instead, if we had the NFTs or the license, all the login button pop off, and we can play the game. So it's easily to implement because these are the physical steps to implement this plugin. So we can see that it's very easy to develop and transform any game or any application, Android application, in Android or application on blockchain. Because if there is already the tools, I don't have to invent the wheel. I have just to pick the wheel and insert in my Android application. If you want to test the game that I reconverted from my centralized application to a decentralized application, you can scan this QR code because there is the file where you can download and play the game. This game works on Mac because I tested the Mac version for the game, but the process is similar with all the platforms. So for Android, iOS, and Linux more. Also for the console, but in this case, I tested the Mac application. In more, if you want to understand more about the EOS blockchain, I recommend you to follow and make an EOS certificate that is our official certificate with several guides to become a blockchain developer, and it's free until the end of 2022. So you can join this program. So it explains all the steps from the basic steps to the last steps is to develop a personal smart contract. Then if you already know how to develop on EOS blockchain, you can test the elemental battle sample where in this course you understand in 12 points how to develop a card game blockchain game. So all the code is public, so you can check and test it on your application. So if you have a blockchain card game or something that is using this gameplay, you can copy the code and use it for your information. And in more, a popular anchor, a popular wallet on the EOS blockchain is the Anchor wallet. So on that QR code, you can find the GitHub with all the information, also the code to implement on several grades of the login function. So if you have the Android application, there are some code. If you on a desktop, there are other. If you on a web browser, HTML5, there is another code. But these are all the information about the wallet. So with this, I'll end my presentation about the transforming any Android application on an Android from a centralized Android application to an decentralized Android application, and we are ready for the question and answer.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you very much, Alfredo. We indeed do have a couple of questions. Very interesting topic. The blockchain and Web3 are one of the most trendy and interesting topics. It's lovely to see you present such valuable information to us. We start with one question from our guest today. So basically, Ahmed Khaled asks, "Hi, Alfred. What payment method would you recommend that one company use globally in terms of less transaction fees per user-friendly for developers?" So what do you think, Alfredo?
The first things we have to see is the eco-friendly blockchain. So in this case, we can point on EOS blockchain, but if you don't want to use EOS blockchain, there is also Algorand blockchain that has eco-friendly blockchain. But in that case, it's more complicated to develop a smart contract for the developer because there aren't much tools and library to already using.
Fantastic. Now another question is, let's go ahead and we've got another question here. What is suitable to be a developer as a blockchain app? I believe the question here is trying to ask how to become a blockchain developer and then how to utilize this experience to build applications and that world.
First of all, you have to learn the languages, and I suggest to learn the most used languages. That they can be C++, because those languages is very simple and used by several blockchain. So if you learn that code, that languages, then you can develop your own application on blockchain.
And Alfredo, a question that comes from me. For the Android world, usually you can use either Java or Kotlin, and some of our users are using, you could use Solidity, for example, to code on the Ethereum blockchain and write smart contracts. So how do you make the transition? How do we kind of merge the two technologies together?
Sure. We have to consider that on the technical level, there isn't interoperability with a different blockchain. But as example, on EOS blockchain, they are developing the EVM tools, that Ethereum virtual machine, that in simple, this EVM can take your Solidity code and transform on the blockchain code. So you can use your Solidity code, but you deploy on the EOS blockchain, because the EVM make the transformation, the magic from the one blockchain to another. So you have to also using a blockchain that is already EVM like EOS.
Fantastic. One last question we have is, Alfredo de Cantea, for the wallet. What are some examples of the set of tools commonly used for interacting with the smart contract?
As I said, there are different wallet, but most of the wallet has the code public, so you have just to copy paste on your Android application, because there are some things on the wallet side that already developed their wallet, so they know on which line you have to copy paste the code, because when you copy paste the code, then you have just to on the user interface add what you need, some button, but if you copy the code, you don't have to do other stuff.
Okay, fantastic. And one last question also comes from me. What is the difference from you said that you built a game and you tested it on Mac. So for you to kind of deploy it on other platforms like Android, or if it works on Windows, what is the change that you're going to have to make this game also work on these platforms?
In this case, I showed the Nice One plugin, and as the team said, the Nice One team said, when you develop a plugin, you have to develop it from a dedicated platform, because we know that every platform has different things to set the resource. So at the moment, the plugin works for Mac and Windows. On the next release, will be integrated also the Android and iOS environment, because there are some technical stuff that we have on the desktop, but we don't have on the smartphone, and vice versa. So it just some tweaks to add, but it's not something that it takes months to develop something like that.
Fantastic. Very informative. Any other tips for us to start with the development process? I'm very interested, would love to learn.
Well, for example, a tips I recommend, it's always see if there are tools and library for the development on the smart contract of the apps, because everyone can see there is a new project, then a new blockchain X, but where is the information, the tools, the language they use? If there are less stuff is not a good blockchain at the stage of the moment. And also an important thing, especially in Europe and in Italy, is the eco-friendly blockchain. If you have a blockchain that set this environment at least as a EOS, a carbon neutral blockchain, then you have an advantage above other blockchain, and also above the legal stuff that in the future can be limit the blockchain that impact on the environment.
Fantastic. Very informative. Thank you very much, Alfredo. I'll be definitely following you. I encourage our users as well to follow you for more valuable information. Thank you very
Thanks.
much for being us today with us today.